Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome. I am Carissa Wiley here for Pinkfresh Studio today, and I am so excited to be with you on this beautiful Tuesday. It's starting to cool down here in Central California, and I'm excited about that. I have something really fun to create with you today. I know we had some technical difficulties last week. I'm crossing my fingers that we don't run into those this week. But I am monitoring my bandwidth. So far, so good. And we are directly plugged into the Ethernet. So I'm doing everything I can do to make sure that we are good to go for this live stream. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend last weekend and that you're getting into your week and that it's going smoothly for you. If you have not already, I want to make sure that you are subscribed here to the Pinkfresh Studio YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, but also click the bell next to the subscribe button because that ensures that anytime we post a video or start a live stream that you're going to be notified. So we want to make sure that you get that notification. Let's see. If you have not already, go ahead and give a thumbs up to this video because that helps us even on the replay when people engage with this video, whether it's through the chat or through thumbs up or comments later on, we really appreciate all of those. We have a couple of prizes for you. We have prizes for those watching live. We have prizes for those watching on the replay. If you're watching live, the way that you enter to win one of the two $50 gift card codes that's up for grabs is that you chat along in that live chat. You leave comments, ask questions, answer other people's questions, but you can also go and share this video in a Facebook group, in an email, in a text to other friends. Let us know to come join us over here. Then come back here and let us know in the chat that you shared this video, and that counts as an entry into the giveaway for today's giveaway as well. Now, if you're watching on the replay, don't worry, we have you covered too. In order to enter the giveaway for two more $50 gift card codes on the replay, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section, and you'll be able to do that after this live stream has ended, and that will enter you to win. And all the details for when you need to leave those comments by are in that YouTube description. Also, before we go down to the desktop, I just wanted to remind you that the links for today's products are available there in that YouTube description. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. RP says Northern Illinois has beautiful weather, and I am so happy for that. It's supposed to be like 82 today, so it's kind of cooling down, but then it's gonna, I don't know. We're in faux fall here in Central California. So let's go ahead and go down to the desktop and have a look at what we're going to be creating with today. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm so glad you're here. I'm seeing all the little chat go on right now, and that's so much fun. I thought I would feature the brand new Nature's Narrative stencil and coordinating die set today. I wanted to create a little scene card with this, but I'll also be pulling in a sentiment from the brand new Twilight Tales. There is a stamp, press plate, and die set available in this, and it makes this adorable kind of book scene here. It really does remind me of, not Twilight, but it reminds me kind of a little of Harry Potter. I know I never read them, but it kind of has that Harry Potter vibe, but I've seen some really fun shaker cards and window cards done with this. So be sure to check the Pinkfresh Studio site for inspiration featuring these products if you're looking for more. There's like a little gnat thing flying around here. So hopefully he doesn't distract me too much. And then I decided, I know I've used this already in a live stream, but I just absolutely love this Scallop Glow cover plate that's a part of this new Fables and Forests release, and I thought I would bring it in today because I feel like these little arches really coordinate so well with the rainbow that's in this Nature's Narrative set. So we're going to be doing some stenciling, some die cutting, and then put together a scene card. And I thought we should get started because there's a few stencils and we're going to be doing some multi-coloring on some of the stencils. So we're going to kind of take our time walking through this. Now, if you've never used the Pinkfresh Studio stencil and die combos before, this will give you a great idea on how to do it. Yes, there are so many new cover plates. Is it Kathleen that's moderating for me today? I missed that. There are so many new cover plates. I just see the cover plate dies are also good. I see that comment there in the chat from the Pinkfresh badge. They are also good, and there's so many good textures. And keep in mind that those cover plates can be used on a variety of styles of cards, and they're fun just to give some texture to your card base or your background. So I'm going to do my stenciling in my Misty stamping tool. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I just find it like the quickest way to do it. If I make sure that my paper is all the way in this right-hand corner, and then each time I put a stencil down that it stays in that right-hand corner, then I know that my stencils from 1 through 6 will all line up perfectly as long as I keep putting that stencil in the lower right-hand corner. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing this. Now I do use a little bit larger piece of cardstock than what I need. That's okay. I can cut this piece down and use this for sentiments or whatever. If you wanted to cut a smaller piece of cardstock down for this, you absolutely could. This is just what I find to be the quickest way to do this. So I'm going to start by placing, this is some Hammermill white cardstock, and I'm going to place stencil number 1 into this lower right-hand corner. And I'm just gonna hold it in place with the magnet. Now, the magnet through all of this, grip mat and everything is not super strong, but I'm gonna kind of hold it in place as well. Kathleen's here behind the badge. I saw Jody, our friend, in the comments as well. And so it's gonna be a party today. Let's start out, and I do have most of the ink colors that I'm using listed below, but I'm using quite a few ink colors, as you can imagine, because we have a rainbow happening, and of course, I needed to make it a rainbow. So I'm going to start with Candy Violet. You'll notice that I went through my stencils, and just to help me out for today's live, these rainbow arches or bows of the rainbow go backwards in color order. So if you're wanting to do a true rainbow color scheme, you're going to go from violet to blue to green, yellow, orange, and then your red. And so I just put with some permanent marker a little letter to remind me what color I'm doing on that, just so that I don't have to think about it too much during the live stream. So I'm going to start out with some violet here. And on these stencils that line up with the die sets, you're going to notice that there are some triangles on those stencils. You want to make sure that you ink those, not because they are a part of the design, but because they are a part of the system that allows you to line up the stencils and the dies together. So you can see I'm just taking a 1/2 inch blending brush, and this is Candy Violet ink, and I'm going over those triangles. They can also be helpful if you are not using something like a positioning tool to line up your stencils, to line up from stencil to stencil. So instead of using like a corner, you can use the triangles to line things up. So I'm going to go and I am going to blend over this arch here. I'm going to do a little bit darker towards the base and allow it to kind of blend out as we get towards the top. And then I'm going to just pick up some of that ink that's left over around here and bring it in for the other lower part of this arch. I want my rainbow to be a little more, I would say, pastel when I'm done. And so I'm going to go a little lighter on these colors here. So I'll start with that and just wipe off the extra purple ink here. Now, this stencil includes a lot of florals and greenery. I'm not actually using those today, so you could go in and ink those with purple if you want. I'm just going to show you that you can use multiple colors on a single stencil. So I'll come in with Ballet Slipper, And I am going to ink the florals. I did get a little purple in this one, but like I said, I'm not using them today. If you wanted to do some masking, you could, but I'm just gonna show you. Sometimes when you just grab a smaller blending brush to begin with, you can get into areas that without having to mask that you might not always be able to get into. And I'm okay if the pink and purple mix together because I know it's not going to create mud anyway. I also want a pink house, and so I'm going to just blend with the ballet slipper onto this house here. That's there in the center. Of course I want a pink house. I actually want a pink house. Actually, I don't want a pink house. I want a pink door on my house. I think that would be so adorable. Like a white house with black trim and a pink door. Life would be good, right? All right, so now I'm gonna wipe up my stencil here with a dry cloth. And then these are the pages of the book that lay open on this design. And for those of you who kind of don't know where we're going, this is what this is gonna look like, or it can look like when it's all put together. So the back side of your stencil or the back side of your die is gonna have an example image that's helpful to follow along. So if you're ever looking at something and you're like, ooh, I don't know what this is supposed to be, make sure you flip that over and check out the example images that are on the back. Now for the pages, I want to do some gray. So I'm just going to take one of my other stencils and kind of lay it over the top to mask off my house because I want to switch to a larger blending brush, but I don't want to accidentally contaminate my house with some gray. And this is Misty Coast. I'm not going to go super dark on it. I'm just going to add some shading there. So just a quick brush over of that there. Then I can wipe this up. I'll wipe up the other stencil too and put that back in my stack. And there are 6 stencils in this set, Laura. So 6 stencils to create, and you can do multiple colors on each stencil, or you can do just one color on each stencil. And I feel like when you do one color on each stencil, that's more the example that you get here. So if you were to stay in the color, like where one stencil is one color, I feel like that's this is a better representation of what you might get. This is so whimsical, and it has smaller little portions that you can choose to use or not use. Today, I'm not going to use a lot of the little pieces, but those can be saved for a different card project in the future. So now I'm moving on to stencil number 2, and I'm making sure that it's kind of nestled into that lower right-hand corner. And for the blue, I've picked Slumber. Anne says, my Pinkfresh order is coming today and I'm looking forward to creating with it. That's so exciting. I know it's always fun to get new goodies in your craft room and have those on hand for when you have some crafty time. So I hope you have a good time creating, whether it's today, tomorrow, or the weekend ahead. So again, I'm going a little darker towards the base. Not that I feel like that matters, but it allows me to blend out towards the top and make this a little more of a pastel rainbow than something that's like super hard in the colors. Now, for the butterflies, I'm going to use, oops, hold on. We pulled up there. I have nothing holding it down, so I'm kind of just holding it in place with my fingers. So let's make sure we don't get anything on the back side. Okay, for the butterflies, I will do the Slumber as well. And again, not in my plans to use the butterflies, but I just want to show you all the little pieces that you get with this. Okay. So I have a little trunk of a tree over here. I will do that in Warm Buff. You know what? I think I listed dough, and I think I meant to grab dough, but anyway, Warm Buff is what I have here on my desk, so that's what we're going to use. Let's put my magnet back under. For the centers of the florals, I will do Coral Reef. Oh my goodness, man, I'm having all kinds of issues today. That's okay. Okay, so coral reef is going to be the centers of the florals. And we'll just quickly blend those. Let's see, what's on the roof? Oh, it's the chimney. Oh, got it. So this little piece is the chimney here. I'll just blend it in pink. I'm okay with that. And then I'll do pink on the side of the house here. There's several colors going down on this stencil. Again, you don't have to do multiple colors on a stencil. This is just the way I decided to do it today. To show you, you know, a different way to use it. And when you're using the smaller blending brushes, it's a little easier to control and not have to totally mask everything. Now this is where I am gonna mask something because I have a little like hill of greenery here and a little door. And I don't want to accidentally contaminate any of those. So I'm just gonna grab some mint tape from scrapbook.com. I'm gonna put a piece over the side of my house here and a piece over this little hill down here so that I can do my door. My door I'm going to do in some Lush Forest ink. So a nice green door on my pink house. I'm glad you guys like the colors that I'm using today. So green door on my pink house. Then I can lift this up and I'm gonna do the little green hill down here. And for that, I'm gonna use eucalyptus. Lots of switching around today. So a little eucalyptus here. Okay. And then I have my big book, which is like the focal book on the bottom. And that's here along the bottom. And I decided, so in my little pink chair room, and those of you who follow me on Instagram may be familiar with the pink chair room. In the pink chair room of my house, I have this cute little book. It's kind of like one of these that I have on my shelf back here. They are, I don't know, they're by a company and they're so cute. They've made them all cute and gold. Rifle Paper Company has some. I have a book that's a classic. I can't even remember what it is. It might be Little Women. That's like this floral color, but it's got floral like accents on it, but it's this dark green. And I thought, I'm gonna make it like the pink chair room book. So I'm doing Lush Forest, which is one of my favorite greens. You are the color queen. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so we're gonna go green. We're gonna go heavier on the outside, let it fade towards the middle. Okay. And then that is stencil number 2. So I'm gonna wipe this up just so I don't get a bunch of ink on my hands. I'm not doing like a full thorough cleaning. Oh, I got into my tree trunk over here. That's okay because I'm not using it. But keep that in mind when you are creating. Don't get color in your tree trunk. Okay, so now we can pull that up and we have stencil number 2 ready to go. I'm not good with picking colors that pop together. I'm going to use the same colors as Carissa uses. That's why we're here, is to inspire you with color combinations, card layouts, and that sort of thing. So you should never feel bad about using colors that we're demonstrating. That's part of the reason that we show up here on YouTube and on our social media, is to inspire you and give you a jumping off point. And maybe you decide you want your book to be pink or something instead. So it kind of gives you a jumping off point, but it, you know, we're here to inspire. Okay, for the window and the little creek and this little bottom book portion, I'm gonna do Ocean Breeze. So I'm not even masking here. And the window here, I'll do that. All right, so that's Ocean Breeze. For the roof, I am going to do Purple, purple question mark. I don't know, purple what? Then I'm going to do warm buff on the roof. So just a little blend there. Again, not masking because I'm just using smaller blending brushes and just controlling where I put my ink. And then for the little bindings on my book, I decided I want to do some Citron, which is a bright yellow green. And just do this here. I know, interesting color choice, huh? But I thought it was a fun pop here. Again, you could do the entire stencil in like blue if you wanted, but then you'd have a blue roof. So it's all up to you. I'm gonna wipe this up and then I will end with my bow. And for that, I think I did stencil this ahead of time just so I wasn't totally fumbling my way through this during today's live, but I think what I'm gonna use is sage for this. Okay, so we'll go with sage. And this is my green. You can see I marked my stencil ahead of time so I wouldn't have to be guessing or I wouldn't forget what color I'm using. I just love watching you color. Well, thank you. It kind of is relaxing to watch somebody else like stencil or color or watercolor. I think it's fun. Okay. So this rainbow is going to end up being a little more on the like muted side. Love your color inspirations. Thank you. I'm just scrolling up and looking at the comments. Okay, and now my mouse is being a turkey. All right. Now we're going to stencil number 4. Hard to believe we're on stencil number 4 already. For stencil number 4, I'm going to do the yellow, but for my yellow, I'm actually using Citron, which is like a yellow-green. So I'm going to do that here. And again, as I'm adding each stencil into that corner, they're perfectly lining up. You can do this with a stamp wheel. You could do it with like even a scoreboard or something, although the scoreboard might be a little harder to blend on because of the, you know, indentions. You can use your Misty stamping tool. You could probably use a T-square ruler and secure it to your work surface and use that as well. So just keep in mind that there are, you know, several ways that you can do this, accomplish this. It doesn't have to be the Misty itself. Okay, I'm just looking over at the one that I did before and I'm trying to figure out what I put here. And I think I did sage. So we'll do this. And let's go with a bigger brush because we're going to cover a lot of area. And we'll just kind of do this. It's the little tape that I used before. And we'll go over all of this area here with sage. Now, the butterfly bodies are a part of this as well. So if you don't want your butterfly bodies to be green, then you could definitely mask or use a smaller brush, you know, those sorts of things to get the variety of colors in there on a single stencil. I'm adding just some darks and some lights there with all the same color, heavier in some places, lighter in others, and then I'll wipe this down. And that is stencil number 4. All right. Cheryl was just out watering and just made it in. Well, we're so glad you made it. Okay, so stencil number 5, I need orange for my bow. The orange that I'm using for this is, sage is a great color. I just saw that comment, love the sage. Sage is a fantastic color. It looks great in holiday palettes as well. So for this, I'm using Apricot. And we'll go a little heavier towards the base and blend up towards the top. All right. Can't wait for the reveal. It's fun, isn't it, when you see it all come together? All right. Just blend, blend, blend on that bow. Let's do a little bit more color up here, just because I want it to look orange and not yellow. So there we go. We're gonna wipe that. And then for the lower part, I'm gonna use eucalyptus, so a shade darker than the sage that we used. I just need to be careful that I don't get it in my rainbow again. So I'm using the same tape that I used earlier, just reusing the same tape that I've used over and over. And we're gonna go with eucalyptus and a large blending brush, a fluffy brush, so we can cover a lot of area in a short amount of time. And we'll get some shading in there, some lighter places, some darker places. Again, I'm not really planning on using all of these smaller greenery pieces, but I can go ahead and blend them anyway and then use them on a card in the future. Donna, don't be sorry you're late. We're glad you're here. Oh, I'm so glad you found something you liked for your husband. That's gotta be a difficult decision to make. So I'm so happy that that came together for you, and I'm sure your family as well. All right, let's wipe this up. Hope we can be a little escape today for those of you who are having like difficult times right now. Maybe this is just a little bright spot in your day. I'm hoping for that, hoping a little joy, a little light. Okay, final stencil, stencil number 6. This is gonna be our red color. Now, for our red color, when I originally did my blending, I used passion fruit. It was too intense. I did not like the results. So this time I'm gonna use coral reef. We're gonna go to a little pinkier red. Same family, just a lighter color. And we're gonna go with the pinkier instead of the red. And hopefully I'll like this a little bit more. Carissa, what's your favorite holiday palette and Pinkfresh inks? Oh, I like a coral reef and a ballet slipper. This is my favorite holiday palette, just riffing here on this, just going off the top of my head. And then I like to bring in the Lush Forest Sage Eucalyptus for my greens. Maybe even a little olive mixed in there too, so you get a variety of tones of green. And then it's nice to accent with maybe some ocean breeze if you have the opportunity to, but the pinks and the greens are like my big jam. So I would say on that end of the spectrum would be my favorite. I love Lush Forest and the pinks together. I think it makes for a great holiday thing, but it also makes for like a really good, you know, coming into spring, a little more muted spring palette as well. What a great way to make a rainbow. So need some happy colors. I hope these are happy for you. I am just working on my last stencil here, and we're gonna go with Lush Forest on these little bushes that are surrounding my house. And we're going pretty intense on the Lush Forest so that we get, you know, some differentiation between the eucalyptus that's next to it. Okay, again, using a 1/2 inch brush because then I don't have to really mask anything and I have a little more control. So I'll wipe this up and then reveal. Boom. Isn't that so cute? I love this. All right, we're pretty much done with the inks. So let me just move these out of my way because there's a lot here. I did not use passion fruit though. So in my defense, there is one less than what I thought I was gonna use. All right, So now we have all of our images and we are ready to do some die cutting. Now remember when we talked about at the beginning of the stenciling portion that these triangles are really important to us. And that comes into play when we start to line up our die. So the die is a one-piece die that's going to cut all of these at once, and it's going to give some texture to some of these book pages and that sort of thing. So this is perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the die and we're going to look through these triangle openings that will line up with the triangles in our stenciling. We're going to look through those and we're going to make sure that the entire triangle opening is filled with ink. So if you're seeing any white along the side of your triangle, it means you need to make a small adjustment. Right now I'm looking down through and I see all of the triangles are filled with ink. And so I'm going to use my very dirty tape to hold this in place. And I'm thinking this is not the wisest. We're going to trade out for some clean tape just so we don't transfer any of that lush forest over to my, images. So we'll hold this in place with cement tape and then we're going to run that through. Now, the other thing you just want to verify as you do this, once you make sure that these three triangles are lined up, you just want to look at these and make sure they're all filled, that everything looks like it looks okay. And they do. It just all seems to fall into place. And then we're going to run this through the die cut machine. Now I'm going to die cut into my plastic cutting plate, my A plate. I don't always do this with my Anna Griffin Empress, but when I'm using something that has some more intricate detail pieces, I find that I get a little bit better result when I'm cutting into the A plate rather than the magnetic shim. So I'm just going to run that through my die cut machine. So if you have, oh, look at, I'm so crooked today. There we go. If you have trouble with your Anna Griffin Empress, I know many of you are switching over to those, and you're cutting into the magnetic mat, try cutting into the A plate instead. You can cut into either one of them, and that usually gives you a little bit better result on some of the more detailed pieces. So now that I've run that through, let's remove the die from the cardstock. Spanish moss, that's a good green too. I really like the dies do come in one piece as it makes it so easy to cut. Yep. And then it takes that stenciling to like the next level as well. So it takes it to, gives the pages, look at that. The detail that it adds to the pages. I don't know what happened here. Did I spit on my project and I got like little dots? I don't know. So now all these little floral pieces pop out really easily because those are like thin and detailed. And if I was cutting into my magnetic shim or my magnetic mat rather than the A plate, I find that I don't get as great of cuts on these tiny little detail pieces. So let's pop them all out and we can just like slide them into a little container over here because we're probably not using them. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I never really planned to use them. And then also I wanted to show you, do you see where all my stenciling was? And there's like a little bit of a bleed line on these stencils designed into it so that if you don't get your stencil or your die perfectly positioned, you're still gonna have edge to edge color. So it is forgiving even if you don't get it into the exact position that you want it. Okay, so through the magic of television, it's 10:35, we're doing good on time. I have an additional piece. This is a vellum circle, and I have my rainbow that I cut out, and I'm thinking of kind of creating like this scene effect. I also die cut 3 additional layers of the book and house scene and 3 additional layers of the rainbow. And I adhered those together with some liquid glue before we went live so that you wouldn't have to watch me glue all these things, okay? So we have our little pastel rainbow, and eventually these will kind of stack up behind here and we'll create a little scene. Now I didn't know what kind of time we would have, and it looks like we have a little bit of time. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to hot foil a sentiment live here. Now I didn't have this heated up, but it's okay because we'll allow it to heat up as we work on other things. I am going to turn on my Glimmer hot foil system, and I am going to use one of the sentiments from the Twilight Tales press plate set to create my sentiment today. So this is a look at the Twilight Tales. You can see the designs here, all of the various sentiments, which are so much fun. Thank you for being a part of my story. You add magic to every chapter of my life. Even the darkest nights lead to the brightest stories, wishing you a storybook ending. There's so many on here that coordinate so well with this nature's narrative. So if you're looking, the nature's narrative is just the stencils and the die. So if you're looking for sentiments that kind of coordinate with that, then you may want to pick up the Twilight Tales. You can either pick it up in the stamp set or in the press plate set, or you could do both. And then it also has a coordinating die set. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the die that I will need for this and set it out. And as we allow this to kind of heat up, we'll work on maybe die cutting our background here. Now this is a look at what I have here. And I pulled out a few different colors for my background. And I'm honestly thinking I might use like this nectar colored cardstock. I really don't know what happened here on my book. I'm gonna switch this out for my other book because it doesn't have those little dots on it. I'm not sure what I did there. So we have a nectar color, which I think would be a lot of fun. Remember, we're gonna add some pattern to this. We could do, this is called Sea Glass, and this is from Concord and Ninth. We could do that. Or we have another cardstock called Sea Glass from the Stamp Market, but this is a little more blue. So we could do the more blue, but I am kind of leaning towards one of these. So let's just, this is heating anyway. Let's just die cut a couple of these and see what we got here. I don't really want, this one's already cut to an A2 size. I see some ink on the desk. I'm still hesitant on the press and glimmer foil machine budget-wise is hard. I understand that. If you wanted to create something similar, then you could pick up the stamp set and you could heat emboss the sentiment in gold embossing powder and do that instead. So let's do this. And I'm gonna just line the cover die up with my cardstock. And I'm going to die cut into that A plate for the same reason that we talked about earlier. This does not have an outer cutting edge. So this will just add that pattern. It will not trim down my cardstock. I don't know what you guys are thinking as far as the back pinkish pink color. Oh, we shifted. So anyway, we could recut this. But we have this. This is gonna be so cute. Okay, I think I'm liking this actually. I thought I might like the nectar, but I really feel like I'm liking the sea glass color and I just messed this up. So we're gonna redo. We're gonna redo. It happens, right? This time I'm just gonna cut it, like hold it in place with some tape. We'll have some tape stuck on the back, but we'll be okay. Now, anytime you're cutting into your plate and you have paper on the back of it, you don't want to die cut in until you've cleaned that up. And since I don't want to clean it up right now, I'm just gonna flip my plate over. Those little pieces of cardstock will definitely put impressions in the cardstock that you're die cutting subsequently. So you want to make sure that you clean those little pieces up before you die cut on that plate again. I also feel like maybe this needed a shim. So because it is a little more intricate, I'm going to do a metal shim in this as well to make it a little easier to poke out all of those pieces. Kind of digging this. I'm digging the arches with the rainbow. I think it makes it adorable. Okay. This time we should be in business. We should not have shifted. And look how easily all those little pieces are falling out. I'm not really going to have to poke out much. Okay. The tape does make it a pain though, because, you know, like the adhesive presses into the cardstock and then you have the tape stuck. So we'll have to get that off there without, you know, ripping our cardstock. Let's just do this first. I'm gonna poke out all these things here. This is where your assistant can come in and help you if you have one. I do not. I joke that I have an assistant because sometimes I pay my daughter to come in and help me with things. But it doesn't happen often. I love this background. If there was ever a mermaid background, I think we should name this the mermaid background. And it is called, help me. What's it called? It's called Scallop Glow. But I think mermaid tail is maybe the right answer for that. Okay, let's get this off the desk. All the stuff. We're gonna have to vacuum in here after because we have a mess. And the dogs, they love to eat the little paper crumbs. They think that one of these days they're gonna find like a treasure and it's gonna be food. It never is, but they think. Let's see, I saw a question. You guys are chatty. Oh my gosh, where did it go? It like moved up. It said, would the tape come off easier if you heat it first for a second? It could, possibly. Just gonna rip it off the back. I only need it to come off where you can see it. I don't care if it stays on the back. Okay, so we have that ready to go. Isn't that pretty? Love that. And we'll have our little scene on top. So we have all these pieces. Let's do our sentiment here. So I have a scrap piece of the hammer mill cardstock. Let me set these guys aside just so we don't ruin them. Bringing in extra machines and stuff. Scrap piece of hammer mill cardstock. This has heated up. It probably doesn't need the timer because it was heated up well before as I was die cutting my background. But normally what you would do is you would set the timer and let that run through the timer. I cut down my rolls of foil into like A2 size-ish panels so that if I'm doing a full size cover plate, I can do those. And then I just keep them in a stamped storage pocket so that they're ready to go. And I just kind of trim little pieces off of the parts that I need. Hopefully that's big enough there. So once your press plate is heated, let me see. Yep, that's big enough. Then what we can do, and I know it's already hot enough, so I'm not even going to wait for the timer to complete. But once the timer is complete, then what you want to do is you want to remove the platform from the base, take it over to your Platinum 6, add your foil with the pretty side facing the pretty side of the press plate, add your cardstock on top, and then grab your thin shim and your spacer pad that come with the Glimmer Hot Foil system, and you can lay those on top and then run that through your die cut machine. What about a soft yellow for what? Stitching would look pretty on that cover plate. Yes, it would. Maybe showing stitching on one of the new cover plate. Oh, that would be fun, Kathleen. I totally think you should do that. Okay, so we've run that through. Let's put our plates back so that they're just out of our way. And I'm just gonna go ahead and unplug that. can see I foiled all the way to the edge. I got a great foiling, but I kind of missed, but that's okay because I actually created one ahead of time. So then once you would do that, you're going to use the coordinating die to die cut that out, just like that. And then through the magic of television, I have one all ready to go. I just wanted to show you the foiling process for those of you who are, like, I know many of you, I hear this all the time. I hear this on my YouTube channel. I hear it here, that you are afraid to try your Glimmer hot foil system. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Give it a try. Remember, new techniques take time to learn and to get comfortable with them. That you can it's just paper. You can practice on both sides if you need to, but don't be afraid to just jump in and give it a try, because I think you'll end up with just such, I mean, there's just nothing like foiling. Of course, you can do heat embossing instead, so those of you who don't have the Glimmer hot foil system, but I would recommend giving it a try, jumping in, allowing yourself a little bit of grace to kind of figure things out, and just don't be frustrated if it doesn't turn out exactly perfect the first time. You can go back. There's a lot of foiling videos here on the Pinkfresh Studio channel, so you can check those out. Now I'm using the Pinkfresh liquid glue to adhere my stenciled layers on top of my stacked up die cut layers. So I'm just gonna line those up, and this is going to give them a little bit of weight on the front of the card. So I have 3 layers of plain white cardstock stacked here, which I did ahead of time. And I'm just adding some liquid glue to the front side of those and adding my stenciled layer on top. I like to push them together with my fingers just to make sure that all the edges are lined up. And then I can use a large acrylic block to just press that down. This is stacked up on a couple of layers as well, so I have a lot of dimension happening today. If you want to skip out on some of the layers or the foam or whatever, you could totally do that. I hear my doggies at the door. They want in, but that is not happening right now. Okay, so once we have those kind of layered up, then my idea was to give this scene kind of a little landing place. And so I used the largest of the double stitch circles. This is from the Pinkfresh Studio Essentials line, like those basic shape nesting dies. I used that to die cut some vellum, so that double stitch circle. And I'm thinking I'll just put this rainbow here to the side, so I can go ahead and add that on. I'll do that with some liquid glue, kind of towards the right side of my circle, just like that. And then because this needs to sit over the top and this rainbow is stacked up, I think I'll use some thin foam adhesive. Now the thin foam adhesive that I'm using is 1 millimeter thick. It is from scrapbook.com. So it's a roll of thin foam tape. They have a variety of depths of foam tape, and you can actually get it in like a multi-pack. So I'll add this 1 millimeter foam adhesive to the bottom. And we'll add our little book grouping here. Let's make sure our rainbow is not cocked to one side or the other. Kind of want to cover the end of that bow there so that it looks like it's kind of coming out from behind the house. Okay, that's great. That 1 millimeter foam adhesive worked nearly perfectly. Okay, then we can add our little sentiment here. Again, I think I'll use the 1 millimeter. Yeah, someone said I didn't realize you could use press plates in the glimmer machine. Yes, you can use them in both the glimmer hot foil machine as well as the Better Press letterpress system, or faux letterpress, or I don't know what the technical right thing for that is, but it creates a letterpress effect. So you can use them in a couple ways, and you can also use them to make an impression in your cardstock. So let's just line this up, this part with the book here. So I'm just kind of getting that there. Maybe move it slightly to the left. Okay, I like that. It's too far over. We're gonna go back. Go back. Okay, now we'll put that down. So now we have this, and this is like its own little scene, and we can place it directly onto our base here. Before I do that, I think I'll go ahead and make my card base. It's my plan to put this on a white card base, which allows that design to show up more. I love using my background press plates for dry embossing. Yes, it is so much fun. You could also use these cover plates that we use today for a dry embossing technique as well. So use those with your silicone mat in your die cut machine, and you can use them as an impression instead of a die cut as well. Margie says this turned out gorgeous. I love it. I'm so happy. It's kind of a bright and happy card for today, isn't it? I'm so ready for fall, everyone. I'm just ready for it to feel like fall. Okay, now to attach this, I'm gonna take some liquid glue and go around the edge, the outer edge, where there's kind of a strip that I can do without going through all the openings. So I'll just run a bead of glue down these edges. And then I'll just add some liquid glue here and there to some of the tops of these arches to kind of hold it down here and there, just so that everything's not flying up when I put it on my card. And then I'll add this to my A2 size card base. I like to just use the surface of my desk to make sure that the bottoms line up. And then I can hold that in place with a heavy block while the liquid adhesive dries up. Isn't that so cool? On its own, with a huge sentiment, could be a total card on its own. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this, I'll probably do a little bit. You could skip any of this foam adhesive, but you know me. I love me a thick card. So I'm gonna do some more foam adhesive. I'm just gonna hide it behind the elements that are on my vellum circle here. And then I think I'm gonna finish off with a few champagne glitter drops for some shine. Is someone asking? I think I dry embossed or something with a cover plate not too long ago on a live stream, if I'm recalling correctly. But maybe my pre-recorded video this month could be on that. I have a pre-recorded video for October that I need to film, and maybe I just do a step-by-step with a couple of the different machines that people use. I am allowing this to hang off. If you don't want it to hang off, then you would just move it over or make a smaller circle. But I like it when elements kind of hang off the card front. So there's that. Let's zoom you guys in for this next part. And let's do a few little glitter drops to finish off this card. I have my triangle tray. I have my dual tip embellishment tool. What is the color of that cardstock? This is sea glass cardstock from Concord and Ninth. I'm going back to search for that video. if you're talking about the video that I was just talking about, I haven't created that video yet, but I was talking out loud like maybe I could create a video just specifically on that. Loving that Scallop Glow cover plate. I know, AKA mermaid tail, right? I think it's so much fun. Now keep in mind, I didn't do any like pastes or anything with my stencil today, but you could definitely add some glitter paste to like your stream or something like that. I think it would be a lot of fun to have a shimmering stream in your scene to kind of catch the eye a little bit more. And I'm just arranging a few of these here. Kathleen, I don't know if you want to start searching for our winners as I do my little embellishing bit here. So I just love the embellishment cluster so much. So I have it it's kind of hard to see, but I have a just kind of tucked around the sentiment, a little up in the sky, a little down here, and I think that's perfect. Dazzling champagne drops. These sparkle like nobody's business, and they're such a nice neutral. They're not like super gold. They're not like super silver. They're kind of like right in between, and they just make a nice little accent to any card. So I'm adding a little bit of liquid glue to adhere these in place and just using the dual tip embellishment tool to place them down, and voila, we have, all right, everyone, I'll be randomly picking the two winners in just a moment. So there we have it. And now because I used my triangle tray, I can just slide it back in the little envelope that these come in, or the little zipper pouch, and just dump them right back in. Yes, I saw someone, Def Shelty Mom says glitter drops in the small openings of this cover plate would be really cool. I saw someone do that on the examples on the website, so check that out. So there you have it. Isn't that fun? Just a really beautiful, fun little card. I love the little book. Maggie Blair, and I just saw Maggie Blair and Michelle Cubbage, your today's $50 gift card code winners. That's awesome. Please email customer service at pinkfreshstudio.com to claim your prize, and give them about 2 to 3 business days to get all that responded to and processed. So congratulations, the two of you. I hope you have so much fun shopping. Would the gems also look good in the middle of the openings? Yeah, someone just said that. There's an example on the Pinkfresh Studio website showing that. So if you want to check out what that looks like, be sure to head on over to the Pinkfresh Studio website and check those out. Thank you all so much for being here today. I'm so glad you are here with me. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, go ahead and click that notification bell and give this video a thumbs up. Kathleen will be back next week here live with you. I know you've seen a lot of me in this month of September. Kathleen will be back with you here next week, and I saw her talk about maybe doing some stitching on the cover plates, and I think that would be just such a fun thing to watch. I hope you all have a fabulous Tuesday. Don't forget, if you're watching on the replay, leave a comment below to be entered to win one of the additional $50 gift card codes that's up for grab. I'm Carissa Wiley here for Pinkfresh Studio, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.